Has Dungeons & Dragons finally figured out how to make crafting work in the new 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide?
A bold claim.
Crafting magic items has always been a fascination for many D&D players, myself included, but the rules for crafting and creating those items has been very vague and not really fleshed out for several editions now, and what few rules did exist were very bare bones and not terribly thematic. So why not take a second to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help us keep this channel going, and then let's talk about how the 2024 DMG may have finally changed that. Basically, even with the improved rules in Vanessar's guide, magic item crafting was just spend X amount of gold and X amount of days or weeks, and the DM could maybe make you throw in some other random ingredient if they felt like it. And that was it. It didn't really feel like you were actually crafting anything, and the DM had to make a bunch of judgment calls just to get the ball rolling, and basically many groups just wound up ignoring the process entirely. The time involved was also pretty disqualifying for even moderately powerful items, so it just sort of became a forgotten rule instead of the cool functional ability many would-be crafters were dreaming of. But with the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, that may have all just changed, as the new crafting system introduced in the book seems like it finally may allow players to live out their magical blacksmith or item enchanting dreams. In a new video featuring D&D's Chris Perkins and James Wyatt, they revealed that the crafting system has been totally overhauled to be both more thematic and more accessible in the new Dungeon Master's Guide. First off, every magic item crafter now needs the Arcana skill, which makes sense for crafting magic items, but they also need to use the appropriate tools to create the item in question. So if you're looking to make a wand of fireballs, you need to be proficient with wood carving tools to carve the actual wand. Want to make a frostbrand sword or some magical chainmail? You'll need proficiency with the blacksmith tools for that one, and on and on. It all makes sense and lets crafters focus on specific lines of creation, while also really making those previously largely fluff-based decisions on tool proficiencies much more important. And if the item you are creating lets you cast a spell, like a Staff of Healing or the previously mentioned Wand of Fireballs, you must be able to cast that spell yourself to empower it into the created item. Next up, you can now create any magical item in the Dungeon Master's Guide that is not an artifact, opening up the crafting process even more, especially when you consider that the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide is answering another major complaint of 5e players by adding a lot of magic items to what had been a fairly limited pool to choose from in 2014 D&D. Like before, the rarer the item, the more gold and the more time it takes, but now those in-person crafting hours can be mitigated by helpers assisting you in your own work, or reduced even further by making use of these special facilities and workers in your own bastion.
Some of the bastion facilities in the Bastions chapter specifically interact with crafting certain kinds of items as well.
This means that you can craft that holy avenger your paladin has had his eyes on all campaign, and get it done in a reasonable amount of time, unlike the old rules where it was basically pointless to try, since it would take a literal in-game year to finish the project. That's just one way that the Bastions have become incredibly useful to crafters in D&D 2024. But one of the coolest touches to the new crafting system is that the magic items you create have their own individual flavor. Items can get creation and history rules of their own, meaning that it's not just a +1 battle axe, that's Balin Bloodgorger's +1 battle axe, created by the dwarves of the Mithril Hills. And they even can have unique minor properties to further make each magic item something different and unique. Balin Bloodgorger's +1 battle axe may also be able to act as a natural compass, so you'll never get lost underground. Basically, any ability that would be on a common magic item can also become a fun quirk of a created or found magic item, which along with the rules for adding the creator backstory and history to the items, really lets you personalize your crafted creations in a way that wasn't possible before. And speaking of magic items, there is now a very easy to read table that shows DMs exactly how many magic items PCs should have by level, which is something that the DMs have been asking for and homebrewing themselves for a solid decade now. This makes it way easier to plan out loot in your home campaigns and gives you a good guideline to keep your party from being either over or underpowered for their level when it comes to magic gear, which is a fantastic new tool for DMs. So is this new system the magic item crafting D&D fans have been craving for decades? We think that with the incredible amount of personalization that can go into crafted magical items now, and the much more fleshed out and reasonable steps to creating them, along with the expanded ability to create nearly any item in the game by following those same clear and logical steps, this may be the best crafting we have seen in D&D possibly ever. It certainly beats the old 3.5 system where you had to literally invest your own experience into a created item, and the incredibly abbreviated version you got in 4E where you literally just cast a spell and we're done with it. So if you're looking to become a master blacksmith creating exquisite suits of magical plate mail, or a magical woodcarver making staffs of power and wands of magic missile, the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, with its new crafting rules and clever utilization of the bastion system to make those rules attainable, is the book you've been waiting decades for. So what do you think? Are you going to become your party's go-to crafter with these new rules? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.